We all think we know the flu, right? But what if I told you there's a specific type, Influenza B, that we often get seriously wrong? Today, we're going to dig into the real story behind it. So let's just tackle a really common belief right off the bat. If you've ever had the flu and someone said, oh, it's just type B, you might have felt a little relieved, like you got the milder version. But is that actually true?
Well, it's time to bust that myth. Big time. The evidence is pretty clear. Influenza B can hit you just as hard as its more famous cousin, Influenza A. And look, this isn't just some minor detail. It's a really critical fact about a virus we just can't afford to underestimate.
All right, so first up, let's break down what actually makes Influenza B unique and how it's different from the other flu viruses out there. Okay, so one of the biggest differences is actually in how they spread. Influenza A, you see, that one can jump from animals to people. But Influenza B, it's a human-only virus. It just passes from person to person. But don't make the mistake of thinking that makes it any less powerful. And to put its impact into perspective, while type A gets most of the headlines, Influenza B is still a major player. It's responsible for almost a quarter of all flu cases around the world. We're talking millions and millions of people getting hit by this specific virus every single year. So, how do you know if it's Influenza B that's got you down? Well, the symptoms can definitely feel like a really bad cold, but there are some key tells you've got to watch out for. One of the biggest, most dramatic signs is a crazy high fever. We're talking about a potential spike up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 41.1 Celsius. And a fever that high, that is your body screaming that it's fighting a really serious infection. And then, of course, you've got the classic respiratory stuff, the cough, the sore throat, the stuffy nose. But with the flu, these are usually way more intense than anything you'd get with just a common cold. But here's what really separates the flu from a cold, those full-body symptoms, that crushing fatigue, the shaking chills, and those deep, aching pains in your muscles that make just rolling over in bed feel like a marathon. Now, it's less common, but some people with Influenza B do get hit with stomach issues, like nausea or vomiting. It's definitely not the main event, but it's good to know it can be part of the picture. And this is a really important point. If you're getting those GI symptoms along with the coughing and fever, that is not the stomach flu. That's a totally different thing. This is just your body's intense reaction to the influenza virus itself. Okay, so now we have to talk about why all this really matters. For most of us, thank goodness, the flu is just a miserable week or so. But for some people, it can get way more dangerous. Yeah, Influenza B can lead to some really severe, even life-threatening complications. We're talking about things like pneumonia, organ failure, inflammation of the heart, even sepsis. This is the reality of why you absolutely have to take this virus seriously.
And look, some people are at a much higher risk for these kinds of complications. That includes little kids under 5, older adults, pregnant women, and really anyone with a chronic condition like asthma or a weakened immune system. If you fall into one of these groups, any flu-like symptoms mean you need to get help fast.
So what can you actually do about it? Well, this next part is your action plan, and we're going to cover both how to treat it and, even more importantly, how to prevent it. It's a pretty straightforward 4-step plan. For most cases, rest and tons of fluids are your best friends, and some over-the-counter meds can help with the aches and fevers. But if you're in a high-risk group or your symptoms are really bad, you need to talk to your doctor about antivirals. And the absolute best defense? Getting that annual flu vaccine. But just how effective is that prevention? The CDC is clear on this. The annual flu shot is, hands down, our best weapon. It can slash your risk of getting sick by up to 60%. And hey, if you do end up needing antivirals, you have to know that timing is everything. For those meds to really work their magic, you have to start taking them within the first 48 hours of your symptoms showing up. That's why you just can't afford to wait and see if you feel really sick. All right, to wrap things up, let's run through a few fast facts to answer some of the most common questions we get about Influenza B. First up, if you get sick, how long is this thing going to knock you out for? Typically, you're looking at anywhere from 2 to 8 days, which, let's be honest, feels like a lifetime when you're going through it. And now for the big one, the question your family and coworkers really want to know. When is it safe to be around other people again? The official guidance on this is super simple and specific. You need to stay home until your fever has been gone for a full 24 hours. and that's without taking any fever-reducing medicine, like Tylenol or Advil.
So, this brings us right back to where we started. Is influenza A or B worse? Well, by now you know that's kind of the wrong question. Both of them can be equally nasty and they both demand our respect. The real takeaway isn't about which one is worse. It's about realizing that any flu can be a serious threat. So the only question that really matters now is, are you prepared for it?